Hey, what is going on, guys? It's LinksClips360, and we are playing Magic the Gathering Duels of the Planeswalkers 2012 today. And you know what? I'm not going to show you any gameplay because I know some of you don't even know how to play Magic. I'm going to be uploading my tutorial video very soon. Please bear with me. I have not found the proper way I want to do that tutorial video yet. It just seems messy every time I finish it. So I will find a good way to prove to you guys that Magic is a fun game. And yeah, that'll basically do it. Right now I'm going to go over my 60 card deck for Blue Illusions, and I'm going to show you what to put in and what to take out. I have just reset my deck, so this is the base deck, and we want to make a lot of changes to this base deck because it's not that great. Looking at our first card option, it's called Curfew. It's 1 blue mana. Each player returns a creature he or she controls to its owner's hand. Now this card is pretty fancy when you're playing with Sower of Temptation and Mind Control, but it is simply not good enough. You have to return one of your creatures, basically, and this is not what you want. I mean, so I've seen people run this card and be able to run it very successfully, but I just cannot see this card being that great. So I do not put it in. Prosperity, first 2 words should steer you away from this card. Each player, no. Counterspell, counter target spell. Rather easy, it's 2 blue, it's probably one of the best blue cards you can ever have. It's like, you want to play that spell? No. You want to play that spell? No. It basically just stops you in your tracks. Kraken's Eye, the next artifact card we have, one of the few artifacts in this blue deck. It says, whenever you cast a blue spell, you may gain 1 life. Now, life gain is completely awful in this type of blue deck. You want to keep up your beats or you want to keep up your control. It's one of the two. You don't want to go throw in life gain. It kind of dilutes the deck with multiple purposes. It's either you're beating, you're controlling, you're beating and controlling, or you're life gaining or beating. Or it doesn't work. You don't want to get it too confused. So we don't put any of those in here. Lord of the Unreal is the masterful, just crazy. I love this guy. He is basically what makes this deck worth running. And says, you know, you can't target my illusions anymore, and they get bigger. So he's in. Aether Adept is like the card Repulse, which we will see in a little while. That it just basically returns a card, returns target creature card to owner's hand. This is like Repulse, but instead of drawing a card, you get a creature. It puts you ahead in board control, and it's just amazing. Yeah, nothing much more to say than that. So these 2 go in. Concentrate, draw 3 cards, 4 mana. What am I going to do? I just spent 4 mana, I draw 3 cards, but I just spent 4 mana. I don't have any more mana to play any cards. What's the point of drawing that many cards if I don't have the mana to play them? So no. Phantasmal Dragon, he's a beefy 5/5 flyer for only 4 mana. Now if you have Lord of the Unreal out, he becomes a 6/6 flyer with hexproof, and he's just unstoppable. It's crazy. So he automatically goes in. Sower of Temptation, I always used to say this name wrong for some reason, but basically when Sower of Temptation comes in, you get to choose target opponent, target creature on the opponent's side. You gain control of that creature until Sower of Temptation leaves the battlefield. Now this card is absolutely ridiculous. You get a creature, a 2/2 flyer is pretty nice, and you get to control an opponent's creature. It can be almost any creature except creatures with Shroud. So you could basically say, oh, you got one of those legendary Eldrazi creatures up. Donk, gimme. That's just crazy. So he automatically goes in. I think it's just she. Bribery is one of the new expansion pack cards, and I've seen a lot of hate for Bribery because you don't know what's in your opponent's library. Well, these are for players who say that have not played this game enough, to be honest. And I don't mean to insult anybody, but each of these decks have at least 1 card you want to grab. Now, if you're playing a mirror match versus illusions, that would be Lord of the Unreal, or Mahamadi Din, or Genie. Blah, blah, blah. Man, these words are so crazy. And you know what? I love Bribery. It's a fun card. Nothing's more fun than briberying a Hero of Oxid Ridge or, another Lord of the Unreal to buff up my guys. It's always fun. So we'll grab that. Drake Umbra, yeah, your guy gets bigger. He has flying and totem armor. Nothing to say. Quicksilver, guys, I'm always on the fence about Quicksilver. It's 5 mana. It's really expensive, but it's return 2 target non-land permanents, so that includes artifacts. So you can hit you know, artifacts, so it helps a lot with artifact decks who just lay those stupid artifacts non-stop. And all those cards, but I just don't find a use for it because it's 5 mana. I mean, I've gotten beat by this card before. My creatures have just been shut down before by this you know, by this card, but I just don't see the use for it, so I always pass over it. Cultural Exchange is another fun card that came out in the expansion pack. Now, I still don't get it. You know, I get its effect, but I don't get its use. I mean, it says, choose any number of creatures target player controls. Choose the same amount of number of creatures another target players control, and they swap those creatures. Now, I see where it's really good. 1 creature for 5. Okay, that is ridiculous. But really, what are you going to take out? Now, we'll put it in for now, and we'll go through, and we'll try to find something to take out, but I just love every single card in that deck, and I just don't see what to change. Mahamodi Jean. Now, he's beefy. He's a 6-drop, though. He's rather expensive. He's a beefy flyer. He's got 5 in the front, 6 in the back. I don't think this is that great. For a 6-cost card, I think he should be at least a 6/6 or maybe a 7 or a 6/7, but he is not because of the flying. His points were allotted somewhere else, and I just don't see it. He's vanilla. To use a reference from another YouTube channel, he's vanilla. He's baloney. I don't want to see him. I love WNG, by the way. But alright, so now we have 76 cards in this deck. That is awful. We want to cut it down to 60. Let's start at the beginning. Fleeting Distraction. You want to keep this. It's 1 mana, 1 card. I mean, it saves you damage too. It's amazing. I love this card. Phantasmal Bear. It's the Grizzle Blues, it's the Grizzle Beats, whatever you want to call it, whatever the YouTube community calls it. It's the bear beats. You're throwing down these bears nonstop. I mean, if you get 2, maybe 3, if you get 3 bears, turn 1 bear, turn 2 2 bears, and then you throw out Lord of the Unreal turn 3, and then turn 4 you throw out, you're done. They can't compete. Lord of the Unreal with Phantasmal Bear is a nasty combo, and I love all of these cards. We keep all 4. Ether Figment. I always get this card every time I play it. Now, it is rather expensive. You never cast this guy without kicking him. He's only a 1/1. Yes, he's unblockable, but, this deck doesn't really have many buff spells. It has one spell that really buffs it, and then it has Lords. You never really want to, play this guy unkicked. So, I always consider him a base mana 5 cost. And, he's rather expensive, but he's saved the day sometimes. And so that's why I keep him in. He's another unblockable outlet, which gets even bigger when you have Lord of the Unreal out. If you have Lord of the Unreal out, your first unblockable, which is Phantasmal Warrior or Phantom Warrior, and then this guy, you're swinging for like 7 every turn unblockable. It's crazy, but I've been on the fence about this guy lately, but I'll keep him in for now. Counterspell, we've already went over. He stays in. Krovikan Mist. Yeah, you want to keep this guy in. Basically, it says power and toughness are equal to the number of illusions of the battlefield. It's not only you, but it's your ally, your enemies, everything. So you play 2-headed giant, 2 illusions, and just have giant Krovikan Mists. And it's pretty ridiculous. We keep all 4 of these guys in. We already went over Lords. Now, Mindspring's an interesting card. I was originally considering keeping this because it's very situational. Say it's turn 3 and I don't have any land, I have 3 land on the field and it's turn 3 and I really need to draw some cards, I could just pick up 1 card. This card is meant for late game when you have 0 cards in hand, you top deck this and you have like 8 mana out in the field. Okay, you pay for it, you get a bunch of cards, you're ready to go. But I do not like this card mainly because what if you're stuck with it and you're out of land? It's a bit risky, and for now we'll keep it out, we may go back. We've already gone over Ether Adepts. Now, Blind Phantasm, it's vanilla baloney, as they call it. And I don't really like it. I don't, like having, as they call it, vanilla or baloney creatures in here. But I have to keep it in here to keep my illusion count up. Now, I'd rather have a 3-drop illusion instead of being a 2/2, a 2/3, and it is not destroyed when it's targeted by spells or abilities. So it's even better than before. So this is one of the reasons why I keep Blind Phantasm in here. Cancel is just like Counterspell, except it's 1 more. Counter target spell. Divination is actually the one draw spell that is worthwhile in this deck. 3 mana, 2 cards. It is very worthwhile. You could very well on turn 5 when you have 5 mana out, you know, draw 2, play 2 drop. It works. I love it. And plus, you know, I love it. Who doesn't love efficient draw spells? Phantom Warrior is probably and arguably one of your best cards in this deck. Phantom Warrior is an unblockable 2/2. He's only 3 mana, and he doesn't get destroyed when targeted. So he's, you know, he's pretty crazy, and he's one of the reasons why I keep him in this deck is just he's not destroyed on target. Repulse, it's the card I was talking about earlier. Return target creature to its owner's hand, and I get a draw card. It sets you ahead in card advantage. It returns a creature, you know, to his hand. It gives you the field advantage or board advantage, whatever you want to call it. It's so worth it. It's only 3 mana. A Wall. Now, Wall of Air is an interesting card. It's a flying defender that's a 1/5, so it can pick off, you know, little 1/1s that are just swinging in. But where Wall of Air fails is it's a 3-drop and it's not an illusion. If it was a illusion wall that was a defender or flying, maybe it'd be worthwhile to put it in here. But it does not benefit any of your cards, and it just slows you down. So while in the more control version of this deck, it will have its day, in my more aggressive beats version of this deck, it is absolutely gone. Alright, Disorient. It's 4 mana. Target creature gets -7, -0 until the end of the turn. Trash. I'm not even going to explain it. It's just trash. We've already gone over Phantasmal Dragon. He's an interesting choice, and he's always worth it. You know what this card says? It says, hey, I'm easy to destroy. It has the illusion downfall. When it becomes targeted by a spell or ability, you have to sacrifice it. So while it's a 4/5 for only 4 mana, it is very easy to get rid of, and it could set you way back, and you don't want that. So I do not run him. The defensive version of this deck does, but I do not. We've already gone over Sour. Summoner's Bane. It's a more expensive counterspell, more expensive cancel, but you get a 2/2 blue illusion, which does count to Krovikan Mist, and does get buffed by Lord of the Unreal. It is a very nice card to pump another illusion out, and it's a counterspell. Come on. You can use all the counterspells you can in this deck. Oh, Air Elemental. I originally thought you were half decent, and then I realized you're trash. 5 mana for a 4/4. Now, Mahamati Jin, the card I didn't put in here, is 6 mana, and he's a 5/6 with the same effect. So, just by saying that, you should realize that this guy is not cost efficient, he is not playable, and he is easily targetable, and still can be Flame Slash, Chandra Outraged. He's not worth it. We've already gone over Bribery, drank Umbra. We're on to Evacuation. It's the, oh hey, I'm in trouble. Book. All creatures go back to owner's hand. It's evacuation, basically. If your creatures are getting targeted, if, you know, there's a bunch of creatures out in the field in your opponent's favor, just get, you know, boom, get rid of them. Alright, Jace's Ingenuity. I've been constantly bombarded with people saying, oh, wow, why don't you keep all the draw in? Why don't you blah, 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 blah. It's 5 mana for 3 cards. Enough said. Why do you want to pay 5 mana for 3 cards? That's dumb. Mind Control, very obvious. Enchant creature, you can control enchanted creature. Now, Time Warp is a fun card. And as of late, I've been enjoying Time Warp a lot. I mean, it gives me, you know, it gives me that extra turn. Like, I could swing in with my unblockables, deal 7, Time Warp, deal 7. That could be pretty painful. But Time Warp is very expensive and situational. If you have Time Warp and you're just, you know, you're sitting on 0 cards in hand except Time Warp, so 1 card in hand, Time Warp. You're sitting on like 10 mana and like 2 creatures. You have to Time Warp for the draw, and that sucks. It sucks to Time Warp for draws. And so lately I've been having to do that, and it just does not feel good to me. And so I've been really just thinking about, what do I remove? Because Cultural Exchange is amazing. It's the emergency card. But Time Warp is another emergency card. And my personal opinion is if you're running the more aggressive version of this deck, Time Warp will go in. you're running a more passive control but still have the beats, you run cultural exchange. If you're running control, you run exchange. And I have made the decision, after long hours of deliberation, to remove Time Warp from my aggressive beat stack, just because the momentum you gain off of cultural exchange is ginormous. If you get a good cultural exchange out, it ends the game. He's just like, I'm done. You could trade your, little bear, which when targeted is destroyed, and get all bunch of his creatures. It's an amazing card, and I've decided to run it. Well, this is running a little long. I do expect these to be about 24-ish minutes. So I gotta show you guys gameplay with this, so I will save it. And I will see you guys in a bit for a gameplay with this said deck. Hey, what is up YouTube? It is LinksClips360, and I will be showing you the multiplayer portion of my 60 card deck tutorial for Realm of the Illusions in Magic the Gathering Duels of the Planeswalkers 2012. We'll be going into a ranked custom match, which is basically, a regular ranked match. We'll be searching for 2-player. Let's see if we can get a match rather quickly. I hate having to wait, and there we are. Noodle Kitten, let's go. How are you gonna do? Now with this new update, we see a lot of new artwork, and as you can tell in the background, it's kind of exotic. I mean, Ajani getting that, but it's a little bizarre. The reason for keeping this hand: Phantasmal Bear, Krovikan Mist, and the Lord of the Unreal. Almost an unstoppable combo. I love it. It destroys things. It does look like we'll be playing against Vamps though, and I am mighty worried because that was a bit of a lag, but I am mighty worried because Vamps is a pretty solid counter to Mono Blue. I do not like playing against Vamps. It is no fun at all. And yeah, we are catching some lag here. I'd like to apologize. Not something I can control if Noodle Kitten has the most awful connection in the world. Now the objective of Vamps going after Blue is just to bring it. Oh geez, just bash me into the ground. And it can honestly do that rather quickly, but poor Noodle Kitten does not know how to make a proper Magic deck and has not trimmed down his or her deck down to their appropriate amount of cards. So we're going to see an interesting battle here, because what I'm trying to teach you guys is to trim your deck down to the appropriate amount so you can be a pro. And right now, Noodle Kitten, not so pro, because 1, there was the block there, and 2, that was just a dumb move. Oh man. Now as you can see on screen, Ether Adept, I just pulled her up, is in my hand, so I'm not too worried about cards like, oh, I'm worried about that. But I'm not too worried about, his creatures, to be honest. I think I'm actually going to play Krovikan Mist instead of Ether Adept, just because I want to keep up the beats, and a 1/1 isn't really scaring me, even though that is a Bloodthirst. Actually, I don't think I'm going to play anything. I think I'm just going to roll with it. I'm going to swing in. I'm going to cancel anything he plays. As you can see, he missed land drop 3. He's in real big trouble right now. I mean, vampires that miss land drop number 3, you miss Vampire Nighthawk. And missing Vampire Nighthawk is a big no-no in the Vamps deck. It's like, you miss Vampire Nighthawk, you are royally screwed. I was waiting for that. Nope, I'm not letting you have that. Yeah, I don't want you having that card. Thank you. And that is what I saved the cancel for, is to bounce one of his cards back. It's rather simple concept, and it's pretty smart to wait. If it means you don't have any new creatures out for a turn, and no creatures out for a turn, then it really helps you. You gain that momentum when you cancel these cards. It just works so well. Now I'm bringing my Grizzle Beats. Take that. Take the 2. Take the 2. Yeah, there you go. I'm really hoping to get these points for this match. Ah, man, I was doing wonderfully. I mean, I started playing this game again, and, I was stomping face. And then I started losing to the Liliana Vest deck that came out in the expansion, which is basically tells you to discard your whole hand multiple times, and it's no fun. So I honestly want to bring my rank back up right now. And I'm just bringing blue beats right now. Oh, man. And that's the game, guys. That was a 3-minute game. I feel kind of bad, but Noodle Kitten just couldn't stand up to me. So once again, thank you guys for watching. Please rate, comment, subscribe, the like button. The like button, that's the rate. And I'll be seeing you all later.